Welcome back, everybody, to the Madden 20 Tampa Bay Buccaneers franchise rebuild. We have another offseason today. It's been a busy week of them, starting with head coach and then Super Mega Baseball, and we come back around to another one with the Bucs, like the 21st offseason. And today, we have a little less than normal to do in the offseason because I skipped the first stage last episode, simulated a week too far. So I did not offer to any expiring free agents. They are now available to negotiate with any team, leaving us with a 37-man roster. We're going to have to be very careful in how we address this offseason now, as those players could all have much more expensive contracts if we want to bring them back. But we are coming off a season where we missed the playoffs and have a need to get younger. We need some more players on defense to step up. We have, I think, a few players I'm confident we can build around right now. There's, of course, Randy Dorsett. I'm really happy about him. Brandon Hurst as well. Looks like Perry Byers is now a superstar safety, and that's tremendous news for us. I think that's new. Let me try to see here. How long has he been a superstar? I did bring up the idea of moving Barry Roy to wide receiver because he could play it, but he is a better matchup problem for defenses at tight end, so for now he will stay there. Still think it'd be interesting to see how he would play there, but I think his rating advantage would drop tremendously. I do think we have some good young receivers, but they're still at normal dev, and we need to see a lot more growth from players like Tremont Gardner or Sylvester Colombo. Jamal Clancy. I'm wondering if he's not one of the better players that we could look to trade. I'm going to add him to the trade block, as Clancy has never put up big production with us. Now, he was a number 3 receiver for a long time, but he got chances when other receivers would get hurt, and he had the chance this season as the number 1. And it was a pretty good season for him, but I still don't think that he is on the level of the top receivers from this series, who would be, of course, Evans and Godwin in the beginning, and then the next era brought us Gabe Ventura and Clinton Mills. I think Clancy is a big step below those players. We will have some needs along the interior offensive line. At tackle, we are set, and we have Denzel Hakeem still. Of course, Jeffrey Kitchen, we'll be able to build around him like we do with Tyrus Sparks. I talked last episode about how I didn't think Kitchen was on Sparks' level, and I know Sparks had a lot better receivers his entire career. I mean, he had 4 number 1 receivers, really, his entire career between the 4 receivers I already talked about. So we'll see what happens for Kitchen if we can bring in some better wideouts. Obviously, that's going to be something we look to address this offseason. We'll see how we're able to do it. Defensively, I'd love to bring back Sylvester Seymour, but I think we have to look at increasing the talent across our front 7 and maybe even addressing linebacker again. Not being able to sign anybody, though, after skipping that week of free agency definitely hurts. I haven't had to make as many moves as I'm about to make here in free agency. But here's just a look at the roster and the complete lack of depth that we have at the moment. Only a couple positions are really filled out. We have 1 corner on the roster. Doesn't it feel like $74 million in cap space is a little low to be needing like 20 more players on the team? Let's just start here. We know we have to look at offensive line, corner, Deshaun Dotson. We could start there. Try to make our corner situation more stable. Have our top 2 corners back again. Leonard Lester has interest from a couple teams. I wonder if we should maybe look in a different direction, because I feel like 60 mil in space is just not much. Of course, I want to bring back Sylvester Seymour. I'll offer about 6.3 here. That easily tops the Giants offer. I'll bring it down just a little bit. Maybe even a little bit more. There we go, 102. At linebacker, Don't see any impact veterans. This position group is always super low in terms of overall, so I don't think I'll make a move there. If we can bring back Dotson, though, we can still look at playing Hurst potentially at nickel and getting another safety on the team. If we want to address safety, I don't know if I want to do it in free agency. If we wanted to release Brendan Galloway, we could to free up $4.6 million. Not sure I'll need to make that move, but I will keep a close eye on the salary cap and see how we can maximize our available space. At safety, what I think I might do this year is play Byers and Anthony Savage, and then just keep Hurst in that nickel role. So that would give us a chance to develop Savage a little bit more. Would love to see him get to star dev. It's been done before in this series at safety a couple times. We also don't have a kicker or a punter, so I will want to address those positions. Alright, Landon Flanagan wants some good kicker money. I will offer something a little lower, maybe get this toward $3 million. That's only 48 points. If we want to address wide receiver, the best available is Donnell McQueen, and everybody's interested in him. 17 teams. So this is going to get very competitive. A lot of speed, great catching, short, medium routes. He is a difference maker, and this would be a very big contract. I wonder if we could trade Clancy and sign McQueen. McQueen might be a bit more explosive, maybe some more big plays. Might be something to consider here. It would be a really similar contract to what Clancy already has. And Clancy, his ratings, like, I just don't understand why he hasn't been more productive in his career. But at this point, we've waited 7 years for the big leap. He's a solid receiver, but not a great one. Alright, I think we may have the cap space to offer to Lester. He'd be still 90 overall for this coming season. And we'd have to go maybe a little bit more than this. But what I think I'll do is I'll only go a little bit over. Because we have some other options, not as high rated, but I've got to sign a lot more players. For McQueen, I don't think I'm going to make the deal. I don't know if I want to make the offer here. It would be similar to Clancy's contract. I think I want to see what the draft can do there and keep developing who we already have. Here we go. Let's make an offer to Mike Galloway. Haven't heard of him in this series, but he is 86 speed, 88 catching, and I would like a multi-year contract here. I don't want to sign a backup tight end every single season. We know it's a key role on the roster. 3 years, $10 million. I think that is definitely fair. We do need 2 offensive line starters. Hopefully Lester comes back. We could have Hensley return and offer him a 1-year contract. He has a couple big weaknesses though, and so does Rashard Conley. So the player I think would be best to offer to here would actually be Phillip Edwards, who doesn't have as high a strengths in some areas, but the weaknesses aren't as glaring. We could play him at center, it looks like. Let's go with a 1-year contract. This is tricky though, because offensive linemen want big money, and it's tough to get them to take less. Markel Daniels never got re-signed. I would like to bring him back maybe on a 2-year contract here. Wouldn't mind that. Here's Dwayne Trawick, who's now down to 74 overall at age 33. It feels like he was just drafted not that long ago, and we were talking about the big leap he took as a 24-year-old rookie to become a superstar so quickly. Where does the time go? Alright, I have some cap space still available. I might try to get aggressive here for like a 1-year deal for McQueen. I think I want to make the play here. 1-year offer. Oh, it's going to be impossible. We converted more of it to signing bonus here. Let's just bring it down a little bit. I know this would eat up a lot of our remaining cap space, but I think if we have to make more, we have a couple ways of doing it. And and I want to see if we could bring him in. I'm only going to go a little bit over Jacksonville's bid because I want to save some cap space still. So here's what I've done in this stage. I've made offers to so many different players. A lot of them would be starters, and we would have the lead for everybody that I have offered to. So let's go to the next stage. We got our punter back, William Townsend. McQueen accepted. Galloway, Lester, Dotson, Seymour, Flanagan, Daniels. Let's go. That is how you start free agency right there, everybody. Nobody rejected. I'm not sure if that's everybody that I offered to. Nope, not Phillip Edwards. All right. That is a really strong start. Wow. So we bring in another playmaker, Donnell McQueen. And that would give us the flexibility to potentially trade Jamal Clancy even, or just keep both of them this year and try to build up this offense again around them, Colombo and Gardner. We have a better second tight end now in Galloway. We get Lester back. We just have to figure out who's going to play center now this season. The offense is basically done. So here's Donnell McQueen, everybody. I can't believe we got him here on the 1-year contract. 95 speed, 92 short route running, 85 medium route running. He would be a great fit in the slot, and I think that's where he would likely play. And then Colombo and Gardner would battle for the remaining outside spots, or that one spot. Defensively, Dotson returns, so our corner situation is handled. Again, Savage can play safety. We did get Markel Daniels back, so the same 3 starting linebackers as last season. Seymour returns. Things are looking a lot better now. 45-man roster, still have a little bit of cap space to play with, and potentially we could open up more if we, say, cut Brendan Galloway. Taking a look at the draft now, we have to remember I traded away our second round pick already, so we have a 1, a 3, 2 4s, 5, 6, 7. We pick at 20th overall, and this is the first round that you want to be picking high. There are some really good difference makers. There are multiple wide receivers that should go in the top 10. I have a lot of interest in potentially moving up from 20 after being able to succeed in free agency the way that we have. I think the receivers could definitely be targets, and I would think maybe these defensive tackles as well. Of course, position depth matters there, and I haven't seen this class in a few days, so we'll figure out a plan here. But I think that whether we stay put or trade up, we can get a big, big difference maker. If we take a look at the top wide receivers, there are at least 5 first-round talents in this class. Lyle McDaniels would be the best value, and he would have really good route running right away. 4.53 speed is enough. It might even be in the low 90s. A lot of interest in him. We could stay at 20 and easily take him, I'd imagine. There's also Ty Murphy from Ole Miss. 4.29 speed, 21 years old, B+ medium route running, B deep, and B+ catch in traffic. Okay. Daniel Bennett, early first projected, mid-1 talent, 6'6", 4.51 speed. Spec catch and release, both at least an A-. Jeffrey Parks, 4.54 speed, 6'4". Wow. These are some ridiculous top 3s. And Darryl Kincaid is also elite. You can't really go wrong with these top wide receivers. One thing that hurts trying to trade up, though, in the first round is having no second round pick. The third round pick isn't going to entice teams very much. So what seems easier at this stage would be to stay at 20 if we want wide receiver, and then look to take somebody like Ty Murphy. Offensive line could be another area that we're looking to address, and there are some really, really good players. I think this is a spot we could potentially wait, maybe even a second round talent. Randy Alford is a late 2. There is Alan DePofey here, who is a mid-1 talent, mid-1 projected. Okay, he'll probably go in the teens then. Tavares Springs, really good value here. Early 2 talent, we love that. 21 years old, pass protector with high bench. He could be the perfect guard for us. There's also Lincoln June, who will probably go fairly early as well. And at tackle, 2 more first-round talents. Ooh, Kyle Hughes has early first talent and is only early 2 projected. Okay. But with no second-round pick, what seems the easiest route for us would be Ty Murphy in the first round and then come back around in the 3rd for Tavares Springs. But where would the CPU look to take him? I think that late 3 might even be a little late. I might even want to move up a little from there. This season, by the way, we were a pretty good scoring offense, just not elite. Want to get us back to that level. Defensively, we were toward the top of the NFL in sacks, and we're pretty good also in points allowed. So this rush defense, I don't know what we can do about that. Addressing linebacker is one of the toughest things to do in this game. It's really interesting because in Madden, a great linebacker makes a huge difference. But I think there are also like less great linebackers than at about any position out there. There aren't a lot of elite prospects, and really good players that are already on teams just get signed long term. So it's really a spot where you got to get lucky in free agency or nail your draft picks that you can develop. And I think we have a couple good players here, but it'd be nice to have another veteran while we wait to develop 2 or 3 more players. Given the talent, though, on the top of this class, doesn't it make maybe a bit more sense to trade Jamal Clancy now that we've made the deal to get McQueen? We could look to bring in another wide receiver in one of those early rounds and potentially get another good offensive lineman, not rely so much on veterans. I think, every couple of years we have to make sure we have somebody, no matter the series, that's developing. It's a constant rotation. And now we're at the stage where McCrary's 28, Hakeem's 29, Lester's really old, and Lippett is 25. So I think that, Lippett was the youngest. Now it's time to get younger and continue that whole offensive line cycle. Everybody knows I like to use up my cap space when I can. I have 14 million right now, so I could look to bring in another veteran offensive lineman. I'd still like to bring in somebody young, and I have to decide if I want to bring in a veteran to play or not. I don't think I want Hensley anymore. There are enough weaknesses here. I don't think I want him any longer. There's Braden Pearson. I might as well put out an offer if nobody's going to show interest right now, just because it could be a tremendous value. It would make our offensive line pretty stout this year. We do need some cornerback depth, and I'm not sure he'll take something low like this, but I will offer to DeJuan Bailey, $2.4 million. We're going to make an offer to pass rusher Michael Horn, continuing to try adding depth to this roster, $1.4 million offer. On to the next stage. I'm enjoying the offseason so far. I like it when it's more challenging like this. Maybe I should sim that first stage more often. It makes it more interesting. Michael Horn accepts the contract. That's the only one for this week. 5th-year option decisions now. Let's take a look at what we have. Ryan Lippett. Yep, we're going to want to pick that up. No doubt. Oh my. 4th-round prospect at running back, Tyrone Nixon. This might be a good draft for us to add our young running back. It's just not toward the top of our needs, but potentially later on. On to the next stage now. Anything happening? No. All right. So we're still waiting on another offensive line starter. And now is the week we could look to trade Jamal Clancy and see what we could potentially get. I like where the offense is right now, but I think if we trade Clancy, get even younger, I can't wait to see what we can do in this draft. This is going to be fun. Here's an interesting player. I scouted an undrafted linebacker here, Chris Matthews, who has catching in his top 3, and he's a linebacker. 4'5", 40 pass coverage archetype. I'd love to have him on the team. Let's go to the trade block, everybody. I went here a little bit earlier, and pretty much every team has interest in Jamal Clancy. So what could we potentially get for him? The Eagles want a wide receiver. They do pick pretty early. It would be a perfect spot to draft a wide receiver. I don't think they would give us the first round pick. Not even close. The Giants pick a lot lower in the first round, so what would they think about their first round pick? A lot more interest, but not quite there. A 2 and a 4 have about equal value there to that first round pick. For a second round pick, would we trade Jamal Clancy? You know what? That's going to be a lot better. The Eagles' second round pick is at number 40. We would just have to put in like a 7th round pick or something to make it work. Not quite there. Okay, I guess I'd have to go to our 6. And I think that's just fine. Another second round pick. Getting it back, basically. There we go. Jamal Clancy has been traded to the Philadelphia Eagles. And we now have our second round pick returned. So we basically brought in another receiver who is younger. And we'll see if McQueen can give us some good production. And of course, we're going to look now to bring in another young receiver to develop. I think with Gardner and Colombo, we could have some success there, but they still need some time, and they're both at normal dev right now. So I'd like to bring in another receiver. All right, everybody, let's get to the NFL draft. This should be fun. We started the day with no second round pick, but now we have one, and it's better than where our second round pick would have landed. So I love having a shorter gap there between picks, especially early in the draft. So we go from picking at 20 to then picking at what, that'd be like 40th. And then in the third round, quick turnaround going into early 4. I love that. So if receiver is one of our priorities, it would be incredible to get Kincaid. A lot of these receivers here would be awesome additions. Now, trading up into the top 10, not going to happen. I don't like giving up a ton, and it takes a lot to move up that high. And this is a really deep position. We want to come away with a starting lineman, a potential starting wide receiver, and then go from there. Here's a look at the draft board, though. Some of the players I haven't really talked about much today. I think one of those mid-round picks could be spent on a running back potentially. But we'll have to see here how the board falls. A corner wouldn't be bad. Julius Clark would be a really good value. A lot of ways to attack the draft here. So let's go. All right, Cleveland picks number 1 this year. And they are going to start off the NFL draft with Sean Palmer, the 80 overall cornerback. I imagine receivers will be going here in the top 10. I want to see how many slide. Jeffrey Parks is the first wide receiver taken. He will go to our rivals in Atlanta. But I don't know that he is the top receiver in this class. Another 80 overall corner. Wow, 2 of them in one draft. This top 10 is one of the better top 10s we've seen in a while. But thankfully our needs are deep. So we don't have to give up much to get an upgrade. Now the Eagles, after getting Clancy, had some flexibility in the first round. They go with Sharif Burnett. Now I wonder, after getting Clancy, did they upgrade their team needs? They did. Okay. It's good. Receivers not even in their top 5 then. I'm glad it updates the logic there quick enough. And with Clancy and Bishop, yeah, I would not look to address receivers super early. You know what? Let's come back to the draft here in a moment. I wanted to actually take a look at McQueen and the numbers he put up in his career. I meant to do that earlier and got sidetracked somewhere. So, McQueen, coming off a 1,000-yard campaign. He's 4 years into his career, and he's put up a lot of touchdowns. 33 in 4 years. So I'm really excited to see what he can do in our offense. We talk a lot about, big games, big plays in this series as well. Over the course of the year, he put up some duds down here, but a lot of 100-yard games, some really productive performances. I want to see a lot of these. So if we go through the wide receivers one more time, Darryl Kincaid, mid-1 talent. Daniel Bennett, mid-1 talent as well. Ty Murphy, mid-1 talent. And then Lyle McDaniels has late-1 talent. So if we look at these top 3 wide receivers, obviously Kincaid has the best top 3. Ty Murphy, his skills are a little bit lower, so I imagine his rating will be a little lower than Kincaid's and Bennett's. I also think that his speed, acceleration, and agility will be worth a point or 2 of that overall, whereas with Kincaid and Bennett, maybe not as much speed, not as good of acceleration, so their overall is going to be high, mostly because of these specific ratings right here. So with that being said, do we want to consider moving up or waiting? That's still the question. The Cowboys, I don't really think have a need at wide receiver, but that doesn't mean they wouldn't try addressing it here. So let's just see if we wanted to move from 20 to 9. How easy would that be? The second round pick I think would be pretty close, but I don't know that it would get us there on its own. Oh, it did. All right. I think that's fair. I think that's a fair trade there. So Jamal Clancy gave us the pick that helps us get from 9 to 20. Now we could have waited, but I didn't want to wait. Not when I could take a receiver who I think is definitely underrated. He might have, mid-1 talent, but I want Darryl Kincaid. A catch in traffic, A release, and A- spec catch. Welcome to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, hidden dev at 73 overall. So a very, very slight reach, but we all know how valuable hidden development is. And he's got, solid ratings across the board. The route runnings are in the low 70s. I could have waited, and we'll compare the other receivers. But here is our newest, Darryl Kincaid. 91 speed. 86 release right away, 86 catch in traffic. I'm excited about that. That was definitely a risky call there to trade up for a wide receiver, especially still wanting a first round or a day 1 starting offensive lineman. Daniel Bennett, 75 overall. He goes a few picks later to Houston. And I wonder when Murphy will go. We don't pick now till late 3rd round after that. Ty Murphy's a 74 overall. He goes to the Giants. So I got the lowest rated of the 3 receivers. But we got to see, of course, if they all have hidden development after this. I like the top 3 a lot. Combined with the Combine. Might not be the most popular move because it's not the best value at all, but we'll see. These moves sometimes take some time. Here in the second round, not really seeing anything too out of the ordinary happen. Just want to get to maybe early 3 and then take a look at the board again. Would be great if we get that 3rd round run-on quarterbacks that we're used to getting. Just pushing more players down the board that I actually want to draft. If we check out the draft board, still some good receivers out there, of course, very deep class. Still some linebackers, a first-round talent at safety, Chris Cleary. Tavares Springs, though, has been my target. I think I'm comfortable just continuing to sim here. High 60s players going. Chris Cleary off the board to Jacksonville. Good value there. And now 10 picks away. I'm seeing a lot of offensive linemen go. I don't really like that. All right, now we're 5 picks away. I just want to see where we are in the available board. Overall, pretty good right now. 67 overall, Trevor Morris, Denton McNeil, and Marcus Jones. So we are on the clock here in the 3rd round. Did not need to spend a 2nd round pick or trade up to go and get Tavares Springs. I want him right here. 21-year-old right guard, 69 overall with normal development out of Iowa State. Pass protection is his archetype, but he also has 90 strength. I love taking offensive linemen that have strengths for run blocking, but the archetype for pass blocking. You end up with more balanced skill sets usually, or at least what's lower here, run block, is at least coupled with nice lead block and strength. So once you upgrade a few times, really well-rounded and ready to go for a long time. We do pick again now in the early 4th round. And there goes Tyrone Nixon. He may have been our selection, but I think we'll be able to do something good with this 4th round pick regardless. This is around where a lot of my favorite value players go, so just as an overall strategy going forward, it would be a nice idea to try and maybe get an early 4th round pick if I have a late 3, try to create a smaller spread between picks there so I don't have to wait 32 picks and watch my entire draft board diminish. Where are we at right now? Still 12 players. And I know that there was a defensive tackle that I thought could go in this range. DeAndre Bernard, he's still there. He'd be a solid pick too. I know it kind of seemed like we may have to go and add a whole lot of players to develop, but I think the players that need developing are actually already on the roster. We need time, and that's where we'll be able to develop Staley a bit more. We also have, our 3 linebackers that are still pretty young. Brandon Hurst is young. I think we just need time there. Maybe another defensive tackle. I mean, that's where the draft is strong right now. Offensively, again, now we get some younger wideouts, some playmakers. We're going to take the best player on our board right now, DeAndre Bernard, defensive tackle out of Alabama. That would give us increased flexibility to keep playing Casey Dean at end if that's what we want to do. And simply here in the 4th round, I'm not going to pass. 68 overall, normal dev at 21 years old. Of course, I love adding young players so they get more time to develop. Bernard, I like a little more strength there, but the other skills seem to be in pretty good spots to start out. Simming our way to late 4, and this might be a spot where I look to trade out. I'm not sure there's a lot I need to do with the rest of this draft class. Free agency worked out so well for us, and I like the moves that we've already made, so I'm not sure I need to do a whole lot more. But planning out the rest of this draft now, I think I want to draft Chris Matthews, and then do I want any of these 3 players? Velvario Nielsen at speed rusher, early 5th talent. Dominique Barr, 4.48 speed. I wouldn't mind actually selecting Barr, and I don't want to miss my chance. So I think I'm actually going to take Dominique Barr right here. New 3rd running back, perhaps future 2nd running back. It's a reach. 61 overall isn't great. I was hoping for more speed than 88, but I like the elusiveness and the juke. So at least that stuff is all good enough. In the 5th round, Nielsen is still on the board, so maybe I won't look to trade, and I'll just continue adding depth to the roster then. Velvario Nielsen, hidden dev speed rusher at 62. Okay, we like hidden dev, and I know I haven't made the best value selections, so it's nice to come away with at least one more hidden dev player. Let's sim all the way to the 7th round now and make our final selection. He should still be there. And here is Chris Matthews. B- catching. Stuff like that always catches my attention. But should it? Well, hidden dev works for me! Alright. That's how we do it. 84 speed, 67 zone coverage, hidden development. I don't even know the catching. It's in his top 3, but I don't know it from here. Oh, there it is. 74. That's solid. Could Chris Matthews make the move to tight end? He has the speed, he has the catching. And he also has the size. For now, though, that's how we close the draft. Overall, I think that I maybe didn't approach the 1st round as well as I could have. I had that extra second round pick. I could have come away potentially with a starting receiver, a starting lineman, plus a player. And I ended up trading up for a receiver who is lower rated than the other two in that range. Only one was still available though when we made our selection. So let's do a receiver comparison quick. Again, we took Darryl Kincaid. I really liked his top three. Seeing those A minuses and the A, I love those strengths on day one. You're telling me he has catch in traffic, release, spec catch all right away? I don't have to go physical archetype like ever. I can go in all the other archetypes, plus he has hidden development. So, while his overall is low, I love his day one skills and the path forward for him. But let's take a look at the other wideouts. At 14, Daniel Bennett went. 75 overall hidden dev. Again, his physical ratings were really good. His route runnings are better, but his speed is a little bit lower. So overall, I think very similar players, but I would take the speed over the route running because route running is easier to upgrade. And it's just the short route running. And I'm not playing Kincaid in the slot anyway. For most of this video, though, I thought we'd end up with Ty Murphy. Normal development. So if we waited, we would have had normal dev. However, 95 speed, 80 medium, 76 deep route running. If you want to get from normal to star, you should look at a player's skills and say, okay, do they have what it takes for a breakout chance? And then the skills to crush that breakout chance. I think Ty Murphy does. So as far as normal development players go in the first round, he'd be solid and a good player to project for an increase in development. Possibly. So overall, I am really happy actually trading up and getting Darryl Kincaid. I know his overall is lower, but he has hidden dev and speed. I like how that turned out after all. That went pretty well for us, I'd say. Although when I made the trade offer, I didn't think the second round pick was actually going to get us there. I was a bit surprised by that, but I wouldn't offer it if I wasn't okay taking the deal. Lyle McDaniels went later on. Normal dev here, and he's going to be the perfect slot receiver. Excellent route runnings right away. That's fun. Now, if we had stayed with our second round pick, we would have been right here to select Tay Randolph if we wanted to. So we could have selected Murphy and Randolph versus Kincaid. And Randolph has hidden dev at running back. He has 89 speed. That is just enough, I think, with 88 acceleration, 84 break tackle as well. Everything but spin move, basically. Plus, he can catch the football. That's a solid pick. It would have been a great addition that would have made cutting or trading Brendan Galloway very possible. Now, I also had interest in Tyrone Nixon, and he went a little bit after we selected Springs. Nixon is 71 overall, normal dev, 91 speed, 81 elusiveness. I also think he would have been a perfect replacement for Galloway. I ended up taking Barr in the 4th round. I'm not sure that was the best move I could have made there. It was a slight reach, but at least he'll be on the 4-year contract now. We can work on developing him, and we've had some good success with low-rated running backs in this series. Then we finish out Nielsen, Matthews, each with normal development. I'll have to figure out what I want to do, because obviously they're super low-rated. They're probably not playing right away. But do I try to boost their development even more by making them focus players, or just enjoy the fact that they have hidden dev and just stay patient? By the way, I gotta see these 80 overall cornerbacks. Sean Palmer from West Virginia, 81 man, 68 zone with 95 speed. There you go, great man cover corner. And then Stephen Bobo, also 80 overall, 6'2", 187, another man cover corner, but his zone is pretty good as well with 97 speed. Wow. That's about as fast as you'll see in any draft. 97. Two fastest players in the draft along with Ty Murphy. How about the fastest non-corner receiver or running back? That would be Jared Hill from Drake, who went to the Raiders. One thing I'd like to see them change in Madden 21, another small thing would be to allow us to just look at certain positions. I know I can like sort it like this and see, okay, here are all the quarterbacks that were drafted, but that doesn't show me the order they were drafted in. And if I want to start sorting by ratings with those quarterbacks, well, then I have to obviously just stay to this menu and keep comparing. And it's possible for positions like quarterback that have less than 10 players drafted sometimes, but say at running back, there's just too much scrolling, it's too disorganized. As far as overall goes, here were the top players. So a couple of the best values went late first round. Kyle Hughes, 77 normal, with really good all-around skills right away. So what do we think of this roster now going into the newest season? We're going to see some change here at wide receiver. I can't wait to see what McQueen and Kincaid bring to this offense. Will that change be positive or negative? We shall see. The offensive line returns 4 out of 5 starters, and now we have a brand new right guard, Tavares Springs. I will look to make him a focus player right away and probably keep him there for his rookie season. By the way, my focus player strategy is usually to help a player who doesn't have elevated development, and I try to have at least one player on each side of the football, so I don't go for 3 offensive players or 3 defensive, at least one on each side of the ball. For the defense now, I think with Seymour, Dean, Macklin, and Staley, who will start again at end, that our front 4 could be pretty solid. We should come close to leading the league in sacks again, I would imagine. I think I'll make Staley a focus player again to try and boost him up into the mid-70s and hopefully beyond. Would love to see him get a breakout chance. And then, behind the front 4, I think perhaps Anthony Savage would be another good focus player, while Hurst plays slot, and linebacker pretty much stays the same. We still have some cap space, and Braden Pearson is actually still available. That is really lucky. Yeah, we're going to be signing him. We have the cap space, and we still have even more cap space. We're also going to sign veteran running back Roy Carswell to be our 3rd running back to start the season. And we're going to make some undrafted signings as well. Here is Javonte Bayless at defensive tackle. These ratings are, high 60s, so we'll put him on the practice squad. So now with Pearson, we don't have to play Springs right away, but we should get him as much playing time right away as possible. Pearson can move inside the guard, and then our front 5 here would be really, really strong. I have enough cap space here to where we can sign Devontae Orr, $7.35 million for a season as our new backup quarterback. Alright, I simmed the preseason quick. We only went 1-3, and let's see how the stats look here. Devontae Orr, a touchdown plus a pick, 4 touchdowns for Jeffrey Kitchen, and some playing time here, it looks like, for Tommy Moyer. Pretty good numbers here for our quarterbacks for touchdowns and interceptions. Brendan Galloway had 3.4 yards a carry and 2 touchdowns. Ellis Norton, a $147. A few more carries here down the board, not too many. At receiver, Sylvester Colombo had good production here with 215 yards. Tremont Gardner, 191. While Donnell McQueen had a solid preseason here with the Bucs. Khalid McMillan, 14 catches for 103. The yards per reception there is just very low. While Darryl Kincaid, just 4 catches here for 53 yards and a touchdown. Defensively, Casey Dean, 3.5 sacks, 2.5 for Seymour, 1.5 for Rodney Staley. But we did have 4 interceptions as a team. We are going to make a signing here. We have a little cap space remaining and only 3 corners on the depth chart. So, DeJuan Bailey, welcome back to Tampa. We are also going to sign Jonathan Whitaker, who is a 73 overall, and we'll add some pass rush depth. We're also going to sign more offensive line depth. Here is Orlando Baxter at 73 overall, only looking for $750,000. That will take us into the start of the season, everybody, and I'd like to know, would you like to watch the first game of the year, let it unfold, maybe take on the Panthers? Let me know down below before I record the next episode, which I will want to hear pretty soon. This has been a lot of fun this offseason, trying to get this team ready to go. I do want to see Darryl Kincaid hopefully make an immediate impact here at wide receiver. He only played 57 downs in the preseason. That explains the low numbers. I guess I didn't have him in a good spot here on the depth chart. I imagine that Gardner got far more snaps. 16 in that game. That one doesn't say. 39, 32. I thought having him as the number 2 might be a good spot, but guess not. Oh well. I think this roster looks pretty solid. We have some new receivers. I can't wait to see how they play. And then the defense. Can we see some of these young players make strides? We'll see. Leave your feedback down below. What did you think of the offseason, everybody? I'd love your feedback. Please leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll be back again with more Buccaneers franchise soon. Have a great day, everybody.